And we're on. Good morning, YouTube. This is Danny Pasula and Arthur Bone with the Sonic Ducks, and we are here today to present our top 5 favorite sets in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, this is not necessarily which ones are the best. These are more specifically ones that we personally enjoy as our favorites. Starting with number 5.
My number 5 is the very first pack, Legend of Blue Eyes, because that was the very first pack of Yu-Gi-Oh! I ever opened whenever I was a little kid, and also it had the Blue Eyes White Dragon in it, as well as Dark Magician and Red Eyes, and I like that pack a lot.
Cool. On your favorite card?
My favorite card in it was the Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Yeah, because it's your favorite card.
Yeah, it's my favorite card.
My number 5 is Duelist Revolution. Now, I started probably around the third or fourth set of Yu-Gi-Oh! In its entirety, and I played throughout, and I got into GX, and they just sort of dwindled after Lost Millennium, and so I sort of just dropped out of Yu-Gi-Oh! But the first set I joined back in was Duelist Revolution. Now, the fun about that was they brought back Amazon's, which I really liked, and that was a first set in a long time that you could just build an entire deck out of just by pulling boosters. Granted, it wasn't necessarily the best, but you could still do it. Number 4!
My number 4 is just the Hidden Arsenals in general, because they were fun packs to open, and just they were shiny cards, and just you could pull like the cool decks out of them, like the Gustos, the Draconides, the Lovels, the Gishkis. I thought those were just the coolest archetypes that you could pull out of the sets, and probably one of my favorite cards is probably out of Hidden Arsenal 7, and it was the one that needed rituals, synchros, XYZs, and fusion all together on the field at once.
Oh, the Sophia.
Sophia, she was probably my favorite because of her summoning condition, and I tried so hard to make a deck out of it. So she's probably my favorite Hidden Arsenal card in general.
My number 4 is Joey's World. Why this might seem strange to some of you, because it wasn't as good as necessarily Yugi's World or some other ones. I feel a really strong connection to Joey as a character, and to have his cards actually be released was really exciting. Plus, it's a 300 card set or something like that. 300 card set, and the randomness and the excitement of not being able to have a clue what you're doing and actually caring about your commons is something I enjoyed. Number 3!
Mine is Return of the Duelist. This is what introduced me into Madolches, which is one of my favorite deck archetypes as well. And I felt that the set was pretty cool. It was fun. It was a fun set to open, Nothing wrong with there, as well as some of the Noble Knights that came out of it too. Some Prophecy stuff that came out of it. I noticed a lot of Prophecy stuff that came out of that set, but mostly the Madolches were in that set, and I love the Madolches. My favorite card out of that set would probably have to be Madeline, because she's just so hard to find, but she's so cool looking, and just she has a really good effect. So that's probably my favorite card out of that set.
My personal number 3 is Cosmo Blazer. That was when I said I started back up in Duelist Revolution, but in trying to play serious Yu-Gi-Oh! I was really getting into it around Cosmo Blazer time, and I looked and I saw Fire Fist and I said, those look cool! And I didn't realize, though, how good they would actually be now that they're actually out. And I remember I spent so much trying to find a bear, and I was probably spent too much money. Yu-Gi-Oh! Already is a money sucker, and I spent too much. But it's a fun booster series to open, not after the 100th pack, but it's pretty exciting. Number 2!
Mine was Galactic Overlords. This is what introduced me into Hieratics, which is another one of my favorite archetypes, as well as the one time I bought a tin, and I got 2 card Ds out of that one tin, whenever it was the secret rare, limited print, super expensive at the time, and it was just so cool and everything, and that also got me introduced into actually seeing how much cards were worth, and checking out that stuff too. Because I remember a friend yelling at me, he's like, do you not check how much expensive your cards are? And I was like, no. And I checked online, and I was like, whoa, man. But Especially mostly the hieratics, and that's what got me into building them. Also adding in hieratic support for my Blue Eyes deck at the time before the structure deck and whatnot. And my favorite card out of the set would probably definitely have to be the Heliopolis because he's so easy to go for in my deck, and he's so cool, and his artwork is pretty fancy too. The red works really well with kind of the orange tint, and this in secret rare looks really fancy with the black as well. So I like that. So that's my number 2 set.
My number 2 set is same as his number 4, the Hidden Arsenal series. It's a one to add on top to him. It's a really great that they have so many different archetypes within it. My personal favorite being Dragoonity. They have Ice Bears, Gustos, the Evil Swarms.
They came out in that.
What?
They came out in Hidden
Evil
Arsenals?
Swarms?
Yeah.
Yeah, Evil Swarms and Constellars.
Oh
And,
yeah.
and a whole bunch of other ones, and there's a
Forgot
whole
Constellars.
little folklore behind it too. If you read into the cards and look online, people have talked about it and stuff like that, and it's just beautiful, and they're shiny, and it's definitely worth your money to get Hidden Arsenal. And before we reach number 1, a few of our
Liked.
honorable mentions. Magician's Force,
Tachyon Galaxy,
Lost Millennium,
Shadow Specters, and
Legacy of the Valiant? Question mark.
Metal Raiders.
All right, number 1.
Duelist Pack Kaiba. The reprint of the original Blue Eyes art was so glossy and fancy, it just worked, and it was so cool, and it was hard to pull. And as well as the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon and the WXYZ cannons. Well, actually, it was more like XYZ Dragon cannon cards that came out of that one. And it was a small card set, too. And Dragon Master Knight, as well as, Polymerization and, a bunch of other banned cards, blah, blah, blah. But I loved that set so much. I actually bought so many recently just looking for Ultimate Dragon. But it's a fun set to open, as well as this new special edition came with like 3 packs of each Yugi and Kaiba. No one cares about Yugi, but Kaiba, that is Duelist Pack Kaiba is my number 1.
And my number 1 is Pharaonic Guardian. Pharaonic, right? It's Pharaonic. That's what I thought. Now, when I was first getting into Yugioh, it's really the first kind of set that sort of deviates from just having a whole bunch of cards so you could build a deck, which is what the original ones were for, so you could build an actual deck, and it had a theme to it. You could see the Egyptian themes in it, and plus it created one of the earliest archetypes that still holds true to today, and it's going to get support, Grave Burst, and it's just it's a beautiful set, and both as artwork and in terms of effects and stuff like that, it was just wonderful. Well, that about wraps up our top favorite sets. Again, this is personal opinion. We want to hear what you think, what you personally think. Please make sure to check out our videos, check out this guy's other channel, and have a great day.
I got